So this video is going to be really different from anything else that I've made on my channel so far. I'm going to be mostly like chatting and kind of knitting at the same time today. Just sort of expressing my thoughts on bringing comfort and providing comfort to those amidst really chaotic times in our world right now, while also still trying to inspire and encourage meaningful action, not just for you guys or anybody that is interested in watching my videos, but also for me too. Just as a quick disclaimer, nothing I'm saying today is like pre-written. I really am just sitting down and speaking from the heart today and sharing some of my thoughts, but also just to remind you guys that even as someone like me who does try to participate in activism in some form, I myself am not an activist. It is not a title that I claim. I think that being an activist is a very serious role and job in our society, and it is not something that I feel like I fit into, but I still feel like I want to use my platform and my voice to try and encourage you to take the steps that you can to build community, to provide safe spaces as much as you can, but then also to give you ideas for little bits of action that you could try to incorporate into your life that maybe you haven't thought of or considered before. I don't really know how often I will try to do videos like this. I'm not gonna lie, it feels a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, but it also felt really important to me to create something, because it just kind of felt like my heart was just kind of driving me in this direction. Grab your project, whatever you might be working on. I'd love it if you joined me for a nice little chat and hopefully bring us together to try and create some positivity and some hope for the future. I am actually working on the Stripe Overload Cardi by Spectacle Strict. I am actually working on this as part of their little knit along process right now. So I got the kit. It's not going to be like the focus of this video, but I figured maybe some people might ask like what it is that I'm making. And don't worry, I plan on having a full video with my process and everything that I'm doing in this in the future. Very near future, but in the future. Did I drop a stitch? It's because I'm going the wrong way. This is going very well. I did drop this stitch. Jesus Christ. Saved it. So let's get some of the more selfish parts of this conversation kind of out of the way. Basically, why I wanted to make this video, what's been running through my head lately, and what I am struggling to process with in terms of the world and also the content that I want to create. I feel like I have been having a lot of trouble lately feeling like I could make content that didn't feel like I was just being tone deaf or even ignoring the problems of the world. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I do these videos in this way because I want to provide a great, comfortable way for people to feel cozy, to feel safe at, to feel like they can have a short little break from the world. But also, it's like kind of for me too. I love making these videos and being able to like express myself artistically with the way that I try to film, the way that I try to edit, has been such a fun process for me and has honestly felt like such a release with anything that could be going on, not just in the world, but also in my personal life. I am definitely someone that doom scrolls. I am definitely someone that doesn't know how to take a break from my phone or the news when another breaking story hits. And so I tend to find that when I sit here and I film content, it's like one of the few times that I am finally directing my attention into something that is not any of those things. But at the same time, being aware of what's going on in the world and wanting to take more meaningful action and wanting to inspire those around me to take more meaningful action is a really big value in my life. It felt like it wouldn't be me, or it felt like I wouldn't be honoring that part of myself if I didn't try to do something with my platform, even as small as I am. Because at the end of the day, I love making my cozy little vlogs. I love making a community on Twitch that we can joke around and we can laugh and we can take a break from the world. But at the same time, I acknowledge that part of what is being in community with people is to try and encourage each other to be the best version of ourselves. Also encouraging one another to try to speak out more, to try to take more actions, maybe to volunteer, to do more calling, like whatever it is that it might look like for you. Because in the end, I recognize that action is going to look very differently from one person to the next, because there are going to be certain risks that some people just can't take. Whether you are someone that is undocumented, or if you have a disability, if you are the sole provider for a family and you kind of can't risk losing a job. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we give up trying to find where we fit in to the puzzle and where we find our skills can fit into creating a better future for ourselves, our children, our nieces and nephews, our neighbors. Because I definitely get it. I am very shy. I am introverted, and sometimes there are certain things that are really hard for me to push myself to do. Simply because of those things, and then also being neurodivergent, etc. So it can be really tough sometimes to push yourself out of your comfort zone. But sometimes pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is what's gonna be needed sometimes. And there's definitely small little steps that you can take that can kind of grease the wheels, so to speak, that can inspire you to take more and more action as time goes on. So the list I'm gonna run through you guys today may not be super revolutionary for those of you that are probably more experienced with activism or other forms of action. But these are things that I've been thinking about for myself that I kind of maybe haven't tried as much, or maybe would like to do more of. And so that's kind of where I'm basing this list and these ideas off for you guys. They're just things I came up with that, maybe I would like to try more of this, or I would like to try to push myself to do this kind of thing. The way I list these are in no particular order. And again, I didn't write anything down. So if any of these things don't come out totally perfect, I'm definitely trying to do my best. And if you guys yourself have ideas or maybe little things that you might do slightly differently with some of the ideas that I have, I really would like to hear them. I want this to be a space that we hold each other accountable in obviously a very respectful and positive way. Capitalism and colonialism are not gonna save us, and all we have is each other. It's all we can learn from is each other. And I hope that you guys want to work positively with me just as much as I want to work positively with you, and also that you all work positively with each other as well too. Something that I actually haven't done in a few years, which I am kind of disappointed myself a little bit for not doing this. And it's just to simply use my library more and to re-up my library card and make sure that it's good to go. Libraries are such important little pillars for communities, because not only do libraries provide free research books, movies, things like that, but librarians themselves are kind of, for the most part, if you think about it, historians. They know how to archive, they know how to keep track of records. Very often there are really, really cool free programs and events that happen. These are also great places for children to gather that are safe, that are reliable. I feel like when I was a kid, my family spent a lot of time at the library, even just to have something to do for the entire afternoon, because it was hot out and we needed to go sit inside of air conditioning because the apartment we lived in when growing up did not have air conditioning. And that's the other thing about libraries too, is that it provides a third space that is free for people to go to. And so many things like funding and whatever are decided simply just by the number of people that have a library card. So even if you don't really use your local library, maybe just having a library card is a great idea. Granted, I don't know how much of that is going to change going forward because libraries could very easily lose funding. But I think the more people using libraries, the better, because it really shows that they're needed, that they're wanted, and that they provide value. Like, I would love to use my local library to find some knitting patterns or knitting books or crocheting books. I see people on TikTok talk about that pretty often, actually, about going there to, scan for patterns and also just information on maybe some older techniques or things like that. I personally would also really love to learn more about the history of knitting, because that is something that I don't know very much about. I don't know a lot about the historical context of fiber arts and the impacts that they've had on global and political movements, and the kinds of things that they provided. I feel like I only just started learning about that more recently, and I think it's really beautiful. And I think that if I want to take this art more seriously, that is something I want to learn more about and take advantage of. And honestly, I think that is a perfect segue into trying to inspire yourself to create more than you consume. That was a really big goal that I made of mine this year. And originally it was about clothes, because I wanted to knit, I wanted to crochet, I wanted to sew more, etc. But honestly, I think be about entertainment too. Do I want my vlogs to be watched? Of course, But do I also want you, if you are inspired to go and create your own videos, to create your own content? Absolutely. I want you to do that with everything. Maybe there is a painting you want to make. Is there a photography collection that you've always wanted to do? Art provides so much importance with history, and it marks important moments in our history. And art also reflects the time period and any of the political and social movements that are happening right now. And I think to be part of that is just really cool. I don't know. Everything we do in life is political. Even the art that we make, the art that we consume. And I think trying to be more intentional about that is really important. I think something to think about too, little things that you can do to have a more positive impact on your local ecosystem. I've seen some really cool videos of people doing this thing called like chaos gardening, where they just like go in the back and they like spread some seeds and they kind of just let whatever grow. And I think that concept is so cool. But one thing I hope that people think about is that they are making sure they're not planting something that could be potentially invasive. So I think thinking about maybe some local plants, some local wildlife that you think you could put into your yard just sounds like such a beautiful thing to do. It's good for your local bees, your local pollinators. Now, something I am always a big proponent of is anything that is more community forward and community focused. I have really been wanting to make it a goal of mine to do more volunteering. I haven't really decided exactly what yet, whether it's like an animal shelter, a food shelter, like a women's shelter, but I know that I want to do something, and I really do just kind of need to push myself to just go do it. I think as wages stay stagnant and as prices go up, you're just going to see more and more and more people that are going to be in need, that are going to be needing help. What better way for you to provide that help than to be a little bit more hands-on locally for the people directly in your community? I think on the idea too, building and also maintaining connection. Again, I'm introverted, so I definitely understand how difficult it is sometimes to maintain connection. But those connections are important. Those are the people that are going to lift you up, the people you can lift up. Part of me being introverted is like why I started YouTube. It's why I started streaming on Twitch, because building community is really important to me. But, you know, I do recharge being alone. And internet communities and connections are definitely very, very important. But I know that I need to do a little bit of a better job maintaining more of like my in-person ones. Something that I have been doing that has been pushing me out of my comfort zone, even just a little bit, is my partner and I will like to go and have just like a beer outside sometimes, you know, in our yard. And every once in a while we're like, you know what, let's go sit in the front yard, because that way all of our neighbors who are out walking their dogs or just taking a walk with their family, we can just simply wave and say hi to people. It is amazing how something as simple as just like waving to your neighbors as they pass by just makes me feel so lovely and like so refreshed. And I feel so much more connected to my neighborhood when I do stuff like that. I think some more obvious ones that I haven't said yet are call your reps. If you are brave enough, go to your neighborhood meetings. That is something I should really start doing, and getting involved in events that are happening in the neighborhood. Attending protests are also great, but if they are unsafe for you for any reason at all, here are some things that you could do to help support protests if you are unable to attend them. And it is to provide any goods like water, extra clothing, things like that, if people are gathering those types of things. But also keep your eyes out for when there are bail funds that are being posted. And I have definitely contributed to bail funds, and I would love to encourage and see more people doing that kind of thing. You will usually see those things posted on social media, like on Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, things like that. And while we're at donations, don't forget to donate to things like PBS or NPR who have lost their funding. I don't think it could be said enough the value that both of those things have provided anybody that has used them. I grew up on PBS, and that was my entire childhood. I would like to say that even if you are child free, or even if you feel like you don't like kids, I still think it's really important to recognize that children are some of our most vulnerable, and that their growth and learning and protection is just as important, if not more, because raising kind, smart, empathetic children means that we can potentially grow a kinder, smarter, empathetic country going forward too. It quite literally takes a village, even when there are no children directly in your life or anyone in your life that you know that has children. The children are our future, you guys. Look at that. I chatted until my battery was running low. So I guess that's a good time for me to wrap up the video. Thanks for just sitting and hanging out with me and chatting with me today. Like I said, I know it's a really, really different video from what I've done so far. I don't expect to do these kinds of things all the time. I hope that I gave you at least some inspiration, no matter how small it is, to figure out how you want to take more meaningful action. If you've kind of been thinking along the same lines as me, I would really, really love to hear down below some of the things that you are trying to get yourself to do a little bit more, because I am still searching for inspiration, even myself. And I would really, really love to hear the ideas that you have had or the things that you have been doing lately. It's so important to provide comfy spaces, not just for those around you, but for also yourself, because the world is so chaotic and the world is kind of leaning in a way that it just wants us to be more hateful. Always, always, always going to benefit yourself when you choose love every time. While it is important to rest, while it is important to escape sometimes, it is really also important to remind yourself that in the end, the world is going to change when we all try to make it better. With every small or big action that we can change or take that we haven't tried to before. I feel like I don't really know how to end a video like this. I'm not gonna lie, that I always end my video like this, and I'm probably going to, I don't know, for a really long time. I end my streams like this too. But remember to be kind to yourself, have patience for yourself. Remember to be kind to each other and to love one another. And I'm gonna see you again soon. Bye.